Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mojito movement. And today I'm joined by someone who is a massive inspiration to me and probably to thousands, if not millions of other people. And he's a fucking legend.
Wow! Hey, this is a big intro, man. It's a big call early doors.
A big build up for someone who deserved it. So and plus I was at IFS and I saw how you hype everyone else up. So I figured, let's give you a bit of the Paul Mort treatment. So yeah, this guy is. Well, I'm gonna let you do. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are and where they can find you. But before we do, cheers to the mojito.
Cheers to the mojito or the screen wash.
Yeah.
People say actually, I'm drinking WD-40 because I'm getting on a bit now and I need all the help I can get. Yeah, I am Paul Mort. First of all, I am a dad and a husband. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and right now I work with married businessmen all over the world. Who want to get the time back, fall back in love with their life, and grow their business. I do that through books, through online coaching courses, hybrid coaching courses. I do that through live events, theatre shows, and of course, my brand new book, Upgrade, where is the best place you can find out more about me right now is Amazon, because my publisher said so. A lot of podcasts at the minute, man.
Absolutely, and I'm glad it's not just me that does the shameless plugs of my own book.
You want to find out more about someone? A book's by far the best way to do it, not 1 minute reels on Instagram.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. So I feel like you've glossed over a load of things as well. You're a stand-up, you're a spokesperson, you do an awful lot of stuff. So well, before we get into it, obviously we're going to cover your book and lots about obviously what you're up to at the moment. But let's strip it right back. Let's take it back to the start, because I first found out about you. It was a combination of ways. That you popped up a few times on my Instagram, but it was mostly through James Smith, obviously referencing you and obviously the work that he was doing with you at the time.
Yeah.
And what I found incredible was your original story in terms of how openly you spoke about your battles with mental health and the journey that you'd been on, and how you then transitioned that into helping other people to become, it was fucking unstoppable, I believe, wasn't it?
Is it? Yeah, mate. My first business was called Unstoppable Bastards.
Yeah. So
we had a middle finger as a logo, and we quickly found out that you can. Mate, this was even back in 2017. I was getting censored. Now I can hardly do anything, man. Yeah, it was. We started that Unstoppable thing, and mate, and it's interesting because none of this, when you say like live life by design, I try and do that as much as I can. But this, in my career, I've kind of stumbled into it. I had no intention of doing what I do right now. What happened was, mate, in 2014, when I first met Smith, I was making a lot of money. Not as much money as I make right now, but making a lot of money, more money than I knew what to do with. As a lad with 2 GCSEs from a poor town up in the northeast, high crime rates. Like I say, 2 GCSEs. No, I didn't even know anybody that was self-employed. So I really struggled with it. And I took 2 years out after I'd been rock bottom, which we may touch on in a sec. But I took 2 years out, essentially. I sold one of the businesses called Lean Greens, still going strong, Lean Greens. My business partner bought me out. And after sacrificing almost my entire identity, my relationships, my mental health, my physical health, the upside of that, so there's a lot of downsides. The upside was I had time, I had freedom, financial freedom and time freedom to get my shit together, if you like, to what most people call sort your life out. Oh, I need to sort my life out. Well, I did. And I went away and I tried a lot of things, went to a lot of places, studied with a lot of people, spent a lot of money, found some things that worked, discarded the rest. And in those 2 years, I lost 5 stone. I got off bipolar medication. Actually, probably took me 4 years, a bit longer to get off bipolar medication. They wouldn't let me come off it at first. So I got off bipolar meds, got off anxiety meds. I just got myself together in a dramatic way. I got the trust of my wife again. And I just, like I say, worked on myself. And then people started asking me how I did it. People started coming towards me like, how have you done that? Why are you so different? How have you lost that weight? How have you got this freedom? Because obviously you don't lose that business knowledge. How have you built this freedom? How have you done that? How have you done this? You seem different. Your energy's different. And like I said, I just fell into it. People ask me how I did it. I remember a coach I had at the time, Garrett J. White. Garrett introduced me to some things that I still do now. And he woke me up. He runs a program called Wake Up Warrior. It wasn't religious back then. It's very religious now. Not my vibe. But back then, I needed a kick in the dick. Like, I needed not to be mollycoddled. I'm a man I would call myself like a man's man, a bloke's man. I'm a very blokey bloke, right? Northern bloke, very much like that. And I needed a kick in the dick, and he gave me a rocket. He literally gave me a rocket straight in the dick, woke me up. And I remember probably 2016, I was at an event over in Laguna Beach, California, and he said, and you just watched the way I spoke on the stage for him. We did like CrossFit workouts, and not really my thing. We did CrossFit workouts where I had to kind of motivate other people to get through the workouts. He's like, Paul, you should be working with men. And I was like, oh no, it's not for me. I'd done coaching before. I was still trying to figure out my next move then. I'd done coaching before, or what I thought was coaching anyway. I was really telling people what to do and getting pissed off when they weren't doing it. That's not coaching. That's mentoring. That's advising.
Yeah.
So, and like I say, I put this video out. The video has now got 50 million views, and I think people realized that they weren't on their own. It wasn't just them. I think they realized that there was different routes to getting help and improving your life than what was traditional back then, which was just going to the doctor and getting meds, which again, have the place. I'm not a doctor. And I think that video, I just spoke about challenges that us men have in the way that, again, particularly northern men just got. They never heard it said like that before, because it wasn't the whole message of let's just talk. It wasn't that.
And I think, I was going to say on that, I think it's really important because that was one of the things that resonated with me is, you know, as men, there's enough stigma around mental health as it is. And what we tend to see, I think it's probably worse now than it was certainly back then, is that when men open up about mental health, it can come across as a sort of I feel sorry for me. There's also a stigma that gets placed on it by society in terms of it's like a weakness, and that you can't be a man's man, you can't be a bloke, you can't be, you know, one of the guys and be struggling with your mental health. It's like you can either be a guy that struggles with your mental health, or you can be a man's man. And your content at the time for me was really reassuring because it actually showed that anyone can suffer, but B, you can tackle this and you can talk about it and not lose kind of like that core of your identity.
So the reality is you don't actually need to talk about it. That's unnecessary. It's helpful for a lot of people, but it's unnecessary. Like if you think about this, if you think about being depressed, being in a low mood, whatever it is not a talking deficiency. It's not a talking deficiency. Men aren't depressed because they don't talk. That's not how it works. You can talk all your life, but talking doesn't cook rice. Talking doesn't get the job done.
Yeah.
You can't talk your way out of mental health battles. You can't talk your way out of business, but you can't talk your way out of much, if I'm honest. So talking can help. It can assist. It can be the start. But ultimately, you can talk all you want, but unless your habits change, unless your actions change, unless your vision starts to change, then it's nonsensical, really. And I'm not saying don't do it. I still talk a lot openly, but I also back that up with actions. Like people say, thought that counts. It's not. It's always the action that counts. It's not talking that counts. It's not. It's the action that counts. And again, difficult conversations they need to be had, but it's like it's not the be all and end all, which I think is part of the problem. You think about this, mate. Men's mental health's never been worse. Yet there's never been more support. Never ever has there been as much support, as many forums, as much awareness, as many charities, as many help available. There's never been as much. Even though we slate the NHS, there still hasn't been as much help ever. There's probably still not enough, right? But there's never been as much. Yet nothing's improving. It's because we need to change the fucking narrative. It's not talking that's going to fix it. It's not talking. Talking isn't the reason why it's broken.
Yeah,
and real shit.
Yeah, and I think I completely agree. I think talking is a necessary first step because I think people need to come to that realization that they are struggling and they need to be.
That puts people off if they think they can just talk. I'm like, if you're, what do you say? What are you meant to say? And who to? Because you already feel like when you're rock bottom, you feel like a fucking burden to your entire family. So now you're going to go and take, oh, by the way, and put that on top of them as well. And this is why men are put off. So like, what if, mate, what if you stop worrying about talking to people and just fucking took responsibility for where you're at. You don't end up there. I didn't end up there by mistake. Nobody does. They don't end up there by accident. That is a consequence of their thought patterns, of their previous habits, of their previous behaviors, of their previous thinking, of their previous discussions, of the previous things that just haven't been done or have been done. And that's what people don't want to talk about.
Yeah, I think there's that
The
fear
biggest
because
example I can give of this, I watched a show once called, I think it was called The Harry Series. You know Harry Redknapp?
yes, yeah,
Redknapp did a show where he got all these ex-footballers together who'd been struggling on their mental health. They did this big talking session and then went out on the piss after. Like, what? Lads,
yeah,
just changed precisely fuck all. You felt a little bit better for 5 minutes and then got back to one of the very things that is a known depressant. Come on, that's a prime example of it. I'm like, the talking means fuck all unless you change anything else. Sorry, mate, I've got off about this. Sorry.
Mate, I love it.
Passionate about it, man. The narrative isn't working. It's obvious it's not working because the numbers are going up, not down.
Yeah. And again, there's so many parallels to mental health and physical health in terms of you look at those forums and you look at all the forums to talk and from a mental health perspective, and I see a lot of comparisons to sort of those group therapy environments, to things like Slimming World, for example, where you get a load of people together that are struggling and they all kind of just talk about how they're struggling, and nobody actually really takes the next step to go, well, what are you going to do to stop struggling? How are you going to improve it? It's just there's that risk factor of it.
Shared struggle, which again, you said it can be useful, but you're kind of reminding yourself. I remember this, mate. I saw every year's going. Again, one of the upsides of building a successful business, yet the rest of my life was fucked. The upside was I did have money to go private with therapists, and they all did the same thing. They just had me talk about me past. They just had me repeat this thing on autopilot, and I'm like, I'm trying to get away from this, not go back to it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move away. I'm just reminding myself of how shit I am, how shit I feel. They had me do mood diaries. They had me do a mood diary. Feel like shit. How do you feel today? Shit. How do you feel today? I just kept putting my attention on how I didn't want to feel, what I wish hadn't happened, what I wish I hadn't said and done. There was no emphasis on change.
Yeah, there is a subtle irony with therapy, and again, I've had various forms of counselling, and I find there's that subtle irony between the suggestion that perhaps clinging on to previous traumas is what's holding you back from a mental health perspective, but step one is to go back and revisit all the things that you're apparently clinging on to, and
change the frame of it. That's the important thing, man. Because no matter how many times I talk about me past, it's there, it's happened, it's done. I can't change it. And the reality is it's the meaning that causes the problem, not the thing itself. It's the meaning we attach to it.
Yeah.
It's the perception that we place upon it. You think about, you think about how many people have overcame the odds, who have came through adversity, worse things than almost any, like there's just people that have came through that. And the difference is they've changed what to make it mean. And meaning and perception, that's actually your imagination. Did you know that 50% of our memories aren't even true? 50% of half of our memories are not true. That is apparently a scientific fact. 50% of our memories are not true. It's mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Mate,
there was a saying that I love this saying. It was one of the best things I've ever heard about the past. It's from a guy I got coaching with, probably 2020 time, called Peter Sage. And Peter said, he has the same way, the past is the past, with your imagination filling in the gaps. It's your imagination that fills in the gap about what actually happened. And your imagination filling in the gaps and all of the meaning. And it's the meaning that's the problem for a lot of people. To see it in a certain frame, and that becomes the story. That becomes a narrative. But actually, you can change the story by changing the meaning you attach to it.
Yeah. And again, a lot of people will have experiences that they've been through. And I think the difference between those who overcome their battles and those who get consumed by it are the ones that allow challenges to define who they are, rather than people to view it as, well, this is something that's happened, but this is how I've come through it.
Man, I've worked with so many people that they've lost children, they've lost their partners, they've walked in on their partner having committed suicide. I worked with one girl, Jodie, who's an inspiration. Her brother got murdered. I've been working with guys right now who have cancer. I've got one guy who's had it fucking 4 times in the past 2 years. Like,
yeah.
And then the difference between these people and someone that allows it to define them like you say, or allows them to say super glued to it. A lot of people just say super glued to it, is they've changed the meaning of it. And part of the reason we say super glued to stuff is because we keep talking about it.
Yeah.
We say super glued. The longer we talk about it, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on talking, because I actually do think it's a useful tool, but that's all it is. It's not a cure. It's not a cure.
Yeah.
It's a tool that we can use. But again,
Yeah.
the more you talk about it in the and keeping it in the frame that you're somehow the victim to it, then you'll stay stuck to it. You'll stay super glued to it.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I think there's the benefit of talking is it can create the space to move forward and yeah, and to make the changes required. The risk factor to talk is too much talk and not enough action, and you know, falling into that trap that we've all seen people fall into. We've probably all got that one friend who every time you speak to them, it's like they're constantly the victim of yet another drama that's going on, and you kind of think, well, is it a case of you're the unluckiest person around, or is it a case of
the common denominator?
Yeah,
you're the common denominator here. And I totally get it, man. Like, we've all got those friends. Like, and again, they'll really struggle until they change that attachment or the meaning that they have to the thing that happened.
Yeah, and I think we're a product of, you know, what we look for is what we see. You know, the example I always give with my clients, if I'm working with people who are struggling to see their progress, or, you know, struggling with mental health, whatever it is, I always say to them, think about it this way: when you buy a new car, it's amazing how many times you see the same car that you just bought, which you've never seen before. Mm-hmm. When you're in the car and you get to punch the person next to you every time you see a Mini or a variation of a Mini, it's amazing.
Our house, yellow car. Every time I see a yellow car, they call it cheese on wheels. You get punched in the arm. Kids punch me in the arm, and there's no returns, apparently. Yellow car, cheese on wheels, no return. Dead on.
Yeah. But it's amazing how many times you see a yellow car or a yellow Mini or a yellow convertible old school Mini, and you're getting the shit beaten out of you in the car.
Is where you place your energy.
Yeah, and it's true with
energy. What you focus on, you'll see more of. What you focus on, you'll get more of. And most people, unfortunately, every day, because they don't interrupt it, your brain is naturally wired to be negative, naturally, because it's supposed to keep you safe. So it looks for danger. It wants to spot things. So you've got to interrupt that. And most people, unfortunately, are focused on what they didn't get done, what they're poor at, what they hope doesn't happen today, what they're dreading today, what they could get stressed about, who they don't want to see today, what they're least looking forward to. That's all they focus on, and they get the feeling that goes with that. What I train my guys to do is, let's focus on what you want. Let's focus on what you want to make happen, what could go right, who you want to impact today, what wins you had yesterday. And they're going into the day feeling completely different than most people by doing one thing: changing what they're focused on, changing where they place their attention. Because what you add attention to, you add momentum to. So whatever I give attention to, I create momentum with it, I amplify it. And most people, their attention's just on stuff that makes them feel like shit.
Yeah, 100%. And again, whenever you look at anyone in society that's, you know, and again, obviously we have to take everything with a pinch of salt, because social media and what have you is a highlight reel. But when you see the people who are perpetually happy, who have got great lives, who nothing, you know, ever seems to faze them and bother them, they're not people who don't ever go through difficult things. Shit things still happen to them. There's a reason why people come across as the happiest people in the world, and why it's because, well, that's where they place their energy and that's where they focus. And I think it's such a powerful message that gets a bit lost. And I think people are almost afraid to say it, because there is that risk factor that when you take this stance, that people view it as being dismissive to people who struggle with mental health, and it's suggesting that you shouldn't open up and you shouldn't talk, and you should just
don't even know what happiness is. I'm like, how would you know you're happy? Happiness is simply a result of no shit. This is going to sound horrendous and pathetic, but it's the truth. You feel happy when you focus on things that make you happy. Full stop. Focus is a result of happiness is just the result of having happy thoughts.
Yeah.
That's legit it. And the reality is, I think a lot of people also get caught in this bullshit that you're supposed to be happy all the time. You're not. How would you know what happiness was if you never experienced sadness?
Yeah.
I try and get it in this concept of, we talk about loving our life, right? You can't love your life only when it's positive. That's like only loving your wife. I've never had a husband, so I can't say. But it's like only loving your wife when she does good things. You love your wife, whatever she fucking does most of the time. I could say to you, listen, bro, give me 10 things. Well, not tell anyone, but give me 10 things that really piss you off about your wife, your missus. And you'd be able to list 10 things like that. probably faster than the 10 things that you love about her, that you really that are positive about her. You could tell me 10 things that annoy you, right?
Yeah.
But does that mean you don't like her? Does that mean you're unhappy in the relationship? No, it doesn't. You love her anyway. My wife constantly leaves half-empty cups of tea all over the house. Like constantly, permanently, right? Permanently. She falls asleep every time I watch a movie, no matter what time of day it is or where we are. Pisses me right off. I still love her. I still love her, right? I could do the same for kids. That's how you love your life. You accept that there are upsides, positives, benefits, and payoffs. But then you also have to, you can't only love your life when those things are happening. That's not love. That's infatuation. That's setting yourself up for disappointment. I've also got to love downsides, drawbacks, negatives, things that go wrong. That's love. What we get is bad. You can't love anything we don't know both sides of. I'm just able to find an upside in these things. Someone was asking me yesterday. So yesterday I got my first ever win in a jiu-jitsu match tournament, right? I got
amazing.
I was 13-0 up. It's the most I've ever been up. And then I submitted the guy with an armbar. It was quite naughty as well, actually. I thought I was going to snap his arm. He wasn't tapping, so I was like, well, I can't let go until you tap. So anyway, we get the submission, and everyone was like, I thought you hated competing. I'm like, I do. I'd lost every other match, but what I focused on was not the fact that I lost. I was like, okay, well, what could I have done better? How am I going to get better next time? What was the upside of that? What did I do well?
Yeah.
And that's why I've been able to keep going, and I've hated it, because the problem was I hated it. But I'm also of the belief, well, I love jiu-jitsu, but I just didn't enjoy competing because it's stressful. There's loads of people watching. So I'm also of the belief, though, that people expect to have confidence, but they never do anything hard. They expect to have self-belief, but they never do anything hard. Why would you believe in yourself when you keep avoiding hard things? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this hard thing. And my goal has just been this, right? Paul, I've just wanted to hate it a little bit less every time. And that's happened. I've relaxed a little bit more every time because I realized a few weeks ago that no one cares whether I win a jiu-jitsu match or not.
Yeah.
I was working with coach Vinny Shawman, my friend Vinny Shawman. Great, he works with high-level fighters. He's been on Joe Rogan twice, right? Friend of mine, Vinny, and he said, Paul, we did 6 sessions together. And at the end, he was like, Paul, I wanted to tell you this in session 1, but I want you to get it a little bit more. No one cares whether you win or not. And I was like, he said, Leslie cares. And then I thought about it. Leslie's my wife. And I thought about it. I was like, actually, you know what? She doesn't even care. She just wants me to think she does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't care.
Yeah. Mate, it was the same when I played football.
I think the kids really care. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I sent my son a video of me smashing this guy. Didn't even reply. It's like, mate, come on, man.
I'm certain that the only reason why my other half cared whether I won or not on a Sunday morning playing football is because if we lost, I would be in a fucking foul mood. It was easier if we won.
Yeah, it's kind of like I was talking to someone about this last night. Actually, I feel like I've lowered the importance of it. I think things that we get really stressed about and worried about, we raise the importance to like an inappropriate level. I don't know it's inappropriate because it's not making you feel good. It's like that's just like I can lower the importance of something and feel a little bit better about it. So last night I'm looking for the next competition. I'm looking for the next one I can do so I can get in again. Because I competed again when did I compete? I competed recently. Probably about a month ago again. I competed again. Didn't even tell anyone. Lost both matches, but I was way better than I had been the one before. Then I was better than the one before that. So I'm now like, okay, when I'm in this zone, let's book the next one in. If I lose, so fuck. It's more experience. It's like you get this kind of resilience through experience. You don't get resilience any other way. You don't get it any other way. It doesn't show up. You get confident. You don't get confidence. It doesn't show up. Motivation doesn't even show up. You've got to create it.
Yeah, completely agree. And I always use the analogy of you look at any sports person at the top of their game, and people only see the success. They go, "Oh, they've won so much." Yeah, but they probably lost more than anyone else. The only difference is that they didn't stop when they lost. They saw it as an opportunity.
The top guys in any industry have lost more times than most people have even tried.
Yeah, 100%.
At the start, everyone wants what Smith's got. They don't realize that he's made thousands of videos. They've made 100. They don't realize that when I was working with him, it took him 6 months of daily email to make his first sale. There are people who give up after 6.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine. Do you know Chris Williamson?
Yes, yeah.
Well, Chris is a friend of mine. I bumped into one of his friends, Yusuf, and we were talking about Chris because obviously Chris is in Texas. I was signing books in Waterstones, Newcastle on Saturday. I bumped into Yusuf. We were talking about Chris, and we're like, he did his first podcast in 2017. People are like, oh, he's blown up overnight. He's done 3 podcasts a week for 8 years.
Yeah.
He's nearly 1,000 podcasts. Most people give up after 4 or 5. Me included. But then also people got to realize it's his full-time job. He doesn't do anything else.
Yeah.
Me and you, we do it as a little bit of a fun thing on the side of our business.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's such an interesting notion. So I had Jarrett Reddick, he's the lead singer from Bowling for Soup on. The episode comes out this week, and they were considered to be an overnight success. But what he said was strange about their overnight success is they were 8 albums in when they hit their overnight success.
There you go, man. And I've had this conversation with my friend Russell Kane. Russell's an amazing comedian, and he's smashing it right now. He must be out doing comedy 4 nights a week, easy, right? 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
But he's like, you know what? Everyone wants the arenas and the theaters. He said, but they got to remember, for 5 years, I was doing 5-6 gigs a week with 5 people there and losing money.
Yeah.
Paying to have people heckle you.
Yeah.
No one wants that part.
It's mad. It's absolutely mad. Again, obviously on the subject of Russell Kane, I remember, and this must be easily 15 years ago, I remember him like bursting onto the scene on, it was like a mock of the week or something like that. And
probably had blonde tips in his hair though.
Yeah, he did. And I remember him because he did an incredibly funny skit about vegans and their lack of energy and ability to answer questions. And it was fucking hilarious.
Class.
But again, you see it like it's like this perception of an overnight success, and it kind of went away, and then you don't really hear from people for fucking ages, and all of a sudden, like, again, now he's really really ramping up and achieving amazing success.
He's the maddest cunt I know, Russell. He's one of the best men I know, but he's mad as fuck. He's mad as a box of meat, honestly. And me saying that, me and him in the same room is like a fucking tornado meeting a volcano. It's wild. We went on holiday.
I can imagine.
We went on holiday a couple of years ago, and my wife was like, "There's something wrong with Russell." So what do you mean? They were like, he's just not fucking. He's not right. He's fucking wild. But me, he's so smart as well, man. Like he'll go from quoting Jane Austen to like doing my accent in the space of 30 seconds. It's mad. Yeah,
it's mad. Yeah,
man, he's one of the best men I know, Russell. He's class.
Yeah, 100%. But I think there's so much to unpack. And again, going back to one of the points that you made in terms of you can't have the good without the bad. I think one of the best analogies for this that really, the majority of men will understand is if you support a football club, it's the perfect example. I'm a Man United fan, so I grew up.
Oh, mate, I have a football podcast that not many people know about. So I'm like 28 episodes in, and I do it, but I don't share it because it's just like it's a bit. I don't want to confuse my audience. Like I'm on social media to build my business, so I don't share the football stuff. I don't share the stand-up comedy stuff anymore. And we were talking about Man United this morning, and a lot of people seem to be deserting Man United now. I'm like, you can't. That's
I can understand like why my dad was such a fanatical fan when we were growing up, because he was born in 58, so year of the Busby Babes and the Munich air disaster. Obviously witnessed them win in 68, and then for the majority of his teens and adult life they were worse than dog shit apparently. And then fortunately he had 2 kids at the end of the 80s. Fergie came in and we grew up and witnessed the best football that there was, and I thought that was going to be a forever thing. I thought the tough thing about being a United fan is that you might lose the odd game here and there, and that was a disaster. And fuck me, the last 13 years have been a progressive downward spiral.
My son is 14, and he thinks Man United have always been shit. He doesn't know what the Barclays men were. That he'll go, I'll go, oh, Man United lost. He's like, of course they did. It's Man United. He thinks Chelsea have always been shit as well, which is even madder.
Yeah,
it's wild. But obviously, and he's really only been into football since when we were in League One, the season that we got promoted from League One in the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the playoffs at Wembley when we won, that was when he really fell in love with Sunderland.
Yeah.
And now he wants to go everywhere, but we're not used to winning anything.
Yeah. But it's a great example in terms of that again a lot of men will 100% resonate with, but don't apply the same logic to the rest of their life.
It's such a great point, It's such a great point, this, because like you wouldn't give up on your football. Well, I wouldn't. I think you're not a real football fan. You don't give up on your team because they don't win every game.
So, and this is a great point, and not to like focus too heavily on the football side of things, but I'm from Bournemouth. So growing up as a kid, we used to go and watch Bournemouth because
Bournemouth are my favourite team to watch right now.
Mate, they're insanely good. And I've
scored yesterday that got disallowed. Did you see it?
Oh, mate, that would have been goal of the season.
Oh, unbelievable goal, yeah.
Fucking Semenyo offside. But But I used to go and watch Bournemouth as a kid because you could get in match. You could turn up on the day and just buy a ticket. Like it was piece of piss. So I've always had a soft spot for them. But when they got into the Prem, they started playing really well, started doing a good job. United were on a decline. Loads of my friends who were massive United fans, suddenly Bournemouth season ticket holders, suddenly Bournemouth fans. And even this season, with Bournemouth absolutely smashing it on the edge of the Champions League spots, United been flirting with relegation. At no point have I ever thought, maybe I'll just be a Bournemouth fan.
No.
Like, it would be much easier. But you don't like when you are a true fan. Yeah, mate, it's the most conflicting time ever to live in this area, because I feel like I should, if I supported my local team, I'd be much happier. But you know, I trust.
And there's not that many people can say that. Yeah.
I mean, I always joke with people because when I say I'm United,
one of the few places that I haven't been, because it's quite hard to get tickets now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a small ground.
Yeah.
I've been a few times. One of my best friends, she's a lifelong Bournemouth fan, to be fair to her. She's a season ticket holder, and every now and then, like if her dad can't go, she's like, "Do you want to come along?" So I get to go down. But yeah, I don't get it too often.
Shout out, mate, because it's one of the only places I haven't been to in the Premier League.
Mate, if you can get down, it's definitely worth it. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah, I reckon. I've got a friend that's we call him the mayor of Bournemouth. It's called Ty Temmel. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm still
Ty's a friend of mine, and I reckon Ty, mate, once me and Ty went for lunch and we're sitting with this guy, and he said, you know who that was? A really nice guy. Sat with him for lunch, and it was Lewis Cook. I was like, what? And for me not to recognise him shows you how much of a normal guy he was. So I think if anyone's going to get me tickets, it's going to be Ty.
Yeah. I'm still trying to pin down a date with Ty to get him on the podcast. So yeah, hopefully we'll
tell him I've been on. I'll get on him today for you,
mate. Legend, legend. But yeah, I think that football analogy is so important when on the subject of mental health, because as men, we will accept when you're a fanatic about a team and you love that team unconditionally, that win or lose, you stick by them. But people don't apply the same logic. Like, I go into every single United game thinking we're going to smash the opposition. I know we're shit. We are absolutely terrible. But every game I'm like,
that's the hope, man. That's the hope. It's the hope that gets you, man.
Yeah. But so many people will do the same with teams that have never been serial winners. Like, one of my friends is a Saints fan. I mean, it must be terrible for him. But not so much this year, but previous seasons, every week, is like, I reckon we can get a result here. Now, if people woke up and thought the same thing about each day, had that blind faith, I reckon I can have a good day here.
Yeah, look, one of the best, and I hate saying this, but look at Newcastle. They haven't won a trophy for 70 years.
Yeah.
Fulham have never won a trophy. Crystal Palace never won a trophy. Brighton never won a trophy. Never won a major trophy, which I didn't even know that about a couple of them until last week when the FA Cup was on. I was like, what? Really? But Newcastle, they're in a cup final next weekend, and they have one of the most, in my opinion, and I hate saying it because obviously I don't like Newcastle at all, but I'm like, they are one of the best supported teams in the country without a shadow of a doubt, and they've never won anything for 70 years. It's wild.
Yeah, it's the same with teams like Spurs. You look at their fan base, you look at how fanatical they are, and how, I mean, they're renowned for. There's a phrase in football of doing a Spurs or being Spursy. Yeah. Like they know that they put themselves in good positions and will throw it away. Yet every single year, without fail, their fans are absolutely adamant that they're going to challenge.
Difficult to get a ticket for as well. That's how we know.
Yeah,
difficult to get a ticket.
Yeah, 100%. Massive stadium and nearly always fully booked.
Amazing stadium, by the way.
Yeah. I've not been to it, but
and the Bernabeu are probably the best two I've been to.
Yeah, nice. Have you been to? Just completely sidetracked this podcast into football, but we're here for it. That's why we don't have a script. Have you been to PSG? Have you ever been there?
I've not been to PSG. Not yet. No, not yet.
Mate, it's fucking awesome.
Is it unbelievable?
Yeah, really, really good. So we got tickets for like a midweek because we were doing like just a week in Paris.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it, we're going to go Tuesday night. Got tickets really cheap. I think we paid about the equivalent of about 15 quid a ticket. For a midweek game, 3 rows back from the corner flag. The atmosphere in that stadium is insane. Yeah. They have like at either end of the ground, they've got like their ultras and they literally just bounce back off of each other the entire game. It's ridiculous.
Because I've been to, we were only there like a month ago. We went to the Milan derby.
I saw in your stories. I was very jealous.
That stadium is dog shit. Terrible. Yeah. Oh, mate, falling apart. Terrible. Almost as bad as Old Trafford. No, worse. Horrible stadium, but apparently the council own it, so they can't do anything to it. Like neither club own that ground.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, mad. All right, let's shall get back on track.
Yeah, let's get back on track. So, the book, talk to me.
Yeah, the book. What do you need to know about the book, mate?
Well, let's dig into it. Like, set the scene. What's the focus? What's the intention?
So
how did it come about?
The intention of the book was how the book came about was a couple of reasons really. In 2017, 2018, I had an idea where I realized that I'm an avid reader. I'm an avid reader. And I just was like, I would love a book. I'd love to write a book. So in 2019, 2018, I wrote a book, self-published it. And people enjoyed it. People liked it. And then as we got on towards 2020, actually it was 2019, James Smith's agent, I opened for James at a gig, and James Smith's agent said, Paul, if you want an actual real book, let's talk. I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, if you don't want to fuck around with this self-published stuff. And I was like, how dare you?
Hey, yeah, I take offense.
Yeah, so anyway, we had a conversation and we ended up talking to HarperCollins, and Harper said, listen, Paul, we'd love to work with you. We love your stuff. We watch you online. We love your stuff. But it's lockdown. Price of paper has gone up 4 times. He said it's very difficult to get books on shelves these days. You don't have a big following, because I don't. So therefore, I'm a risk. If I think about this, if we think about this logically, you think about this. They've got to pay me. They've got to pay an editor. They've got to pay a proofreader. They've got to pay loads of people. They've got to pay to get it printed, and they've got to pay to get it in the bookshelves. On bookshelves. Yeah. I am a risk.
Yeah.
The reason people with millions of followers get book deals easily is because they're not a risk.
Yeah, 100%. I had the same
thing. Get a book deal. Can you put me in touch with the publisher? I'm like, mate, you got no chance. I don't want to piss in your cornflakes, but I'm going to tell you the truth. You got no chance.
Yeah, I had the same thing when I put my book out.
Yeah,
I spoke to, I think it was 4 or 5 different publishers came forward and said, yeah, we really like the book. We'd be happy to do something, but they all wanted between 5 and 10 grand of my own money to put it on shelves, and I was like, yep, says enough. So I stuck with Amazon.
So we did a deal with them to do audio only, and it did very well. We dropped it at a time where I think it was the 27th of December of 2021. Yeah, it was 2021, and that flew up. Like it went past Ann Middleton, Jay Shetty. I think Barack Obama's book was #1, and Matthew McConaughey or something like that. But they were above me in the audiobook charts, so it flew out. The timing was great. And then I remember that year also, we travel a lot. Me and my family travel a lot. We go away every half term. We'll do the odd weekend football trip, live sports, live music. That's our thing. Like live events, whether it's only live once. I love that saying. It's only live once. Those are our thing. That's what I spend a lot of fun tokens on that. So I remember one trip we did, I think it was Dubai or something, and the kids are like, Dad, when are you going to have a book on the shelves? Because all of my friends, especially that time, there was like Smith was on the shelves, Tyson Fury was on the shelves, Ollie Alderton, Ant Middleton, Haskell had a book out. So all these guys who I'm friends with, books are on shelves, and my kids thought it was hilarious that I wasn't. Right, I'm going to try and go for this now. So what I did was, because I knew the facts about how difficult it is to get a book deal, I was like, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take over the whole process. Because a lot of people do is they'll try and get the deal before the book's written. And if you're really good and you've got a big following, they will pay you to write the book. And I was like, well, I know that's not going to happen for me. I know it's not. So I was like, I'm going to put together a book. So for 2 selfish reasons I want to get in the bookshelves. 1, so my kids could see it on the shelves in W.H. Smith at Newcastle Airport. 2, because I want to get my work into more people's hands that don't know who I am yet. I don't know who I am. I'll tell you a story in a second that blew me head off. But I want my book to get in the hands of more people who are at the airport and maybe wouldn't normally pick up a book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone that wouldn't normally pick up a book. I mean, that's a very distinctive cover, the no bullshit guide to leveling up your life, etc., etc. Like that's it's a standard book cover. It's a bit different. So I went to them with a book, a manuscript that was completed, that had been edited, and I would have been happy to get a paperback deal. And we had a few people interested. The first company that came to me were HarperCollins, who did my first book, and they're like, Paul, we'll love it. Would love to offer you a hardback deal. And I tried to play it cool. I tried to play it cool. My agent said, Paul, it was the first offer we got. He was to take the offer. I was like, all right, we took it, and thankfully it's on shelves and that now. But story from Saturday. So Saturday, somehow I've been offered to go and do a book signing in Newcastle, which is like, that's fucking pinch yourself shit.
Yeah.
I was terrified no one was going to turn up. I got there was a queue outside the door. I was like, Jesus Christ, man, this is like dream bucket list shit.
Yeah.
And a lady. So obviously the people that were queuing were people that knew who I was, followed me on my email list, maybe brought their own book or bought one while I was there. And a lady came over and she said, I could see her talking to my exec assistant came along just to make sure that everything went smoothly. So she came along. I see her talking to Kath for ages. And she bought the book. She'd just been in the bookshop. She didn't know who I was. She saw the book cover and she said, my brother's at rock bottom. And I wrote a message. And I think I wrote something like, get your fucking shit together. She's like, he's got a son. He's doing this. He's doing that. I was like, you need to kick up the arse then. And that was the first example that I'd really seen of somebody that wasn't already following me, that wasn't part of my world, that didn't already trust me, who bought the book. And I was like, oh shit, this is exactly what I wanted to happen. Ironically though, mate, I've been on holiday twice since the book came out. And Newcastle Airport WH Smith has been closed for refurbishment both times. Somebody though went like 2 days after the book came out and they sent me a photo of it. So, because I might never see it again. What happens with books is it goes up and then people start buying and then sometimes it just disappears and ends up in one of those fucking bookstores in like an outlet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The book, I think it's called Bookkeeper or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just have shit books. Hopefully I don't ever end up in there. Yeah,
hopefully not, mate. I'm sure you won't. But yeah, it's been a dream of mine when I wrote my book. I was like, I would love to have this in airports mostly, because it's the only time I ever go anywhere near books is if I'm in an airport. So I even joked with the idea of doing an announcement that I was going to be doing a signing at my local Waterstones, but because obviously it's not for sale, and that would just be me outside with a stack of my own books, just like signing books.
Here's a little secret for you. Something that I did. We went away to Egypt on the 27th of December, so the book wasn't out yet, but I had author copies.
Yeah.
So I left 3 copies of my book in WH Smith at the airport. I just left them there. Reverse shoplifting, we'll call it. So whatever happened to those books, I hope that whoever got them, even if it was a WH staff member, enjoyed them.
Yeah, I mean, I was tempted to print off a load of the cover of my book and just put it over all the books in Tesco's. But a bit of guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, man, that's exactly what it's called, man. Holy shit, I've never heard that term for ages. Yeah, guerrilla marketing. Yeah, just leave it there, man.
But I think that's how the GU pots got into Tesco's. They went and put a load on the shelves because Tesco said no to them. Yeah, they went and put a load on the shelves, and people were turning up at the checkouts, and it wasn't scanning through. So then they obviously had to contact them and be like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Well, people obviously want the product, so can we get it in there?"
That is wonderful, mate. I love that. Yeah. We did it. My agent wanted me, so we ended up getting the book signing thing. But my agent was like, "Why didn't you get all your team and all your friends to ring Waterstones and ask if they've got your book in?" And I was like, "I'm not going that far. I'm not going that far. I don't like. I'm a guy that's weird. It's one of the things I don't like asking for is favors. So when it came to getting the quotes, I mean, we've got Smith on the front, we've got Russell Kane, and we've got Chris Ramsey in, we've got Ollie Alderton in there. I hated even asking for them, and these guys are my friends. I was like, "Can you give us a quote for me book?" And I was just like, it must be an ego thing, man.
Yeah, I think it is.
He's always asking me, "Do you want tickets?" And even if I want them, I say, "No, I'm good." Even if I want them, I'm like, I just hate this idea of owing people something.
Yeah, completely get it.
Ego, man.
Completely get it. It's one of the things that I found strange about the about doing this podcast, because the amount of people that said yes to coming on, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, I put a load of messages out to people, and I expected to just get ignored by everyone, and it just be me sat in my bar drinking mojitos, sort of crying to myself. and it's been the complete fucking opposite, and it's blown me away. And I'm like, I found that really weird to get my head around. And then obviously Bowling for Soup played they played Bournemouth for the last night of their tour.
I remember the pub I was seeing Paul try and get on some podcasts, and I was like, but that's asking people to have you on the podcast is even weirder, by the way. It's even weirder. Yeah, so I made a public post. I just went, "Who should have me on the podcast?" We've got about 20 podcast books. But the weird thing is, also, the publisher has got me some bookings for podcasts as well. But I'm doing it with people that follow you and know a bit about you. That's great, because I know what to expect. But I've done a few where the person on the other side has no idea who I am. It's very strange. I didn't know this guy who was the polar opposite to me. Like he had a man bun and shit. But we ended up a great conversation because I didn't agree with everything that he said, and he didn't agree with everything that I said.
Yeah, actually, I think that makes a really good platform for podcasts. I had did an episode on Friday last week with James Collier, who co-founder of Fuel,
Right.
because I registered on his radar by posting some content where I wasn't overly favourable about my views on Huel.
And he came into the podcast.
Yeah,
Fair play.
and it was an excellent episode. Like we agreed on an
man.
awful lot, but
Yeah.
the topics that we actually we had different opinions on.
Yeah.
We had such a good constructive conversation about it. Like it was actually very enjoyable.
Fair play.
And really. But again, it's I find things like that really strange when people who are who I would consider to be significant people within the industry are reaching out to me and going, "Hey, can I come and have a chat with you on your podcast?" And I'm like, "This is fucking weird."
Yeah,
this is weird. The podcast was a drunken idea from IFS last year. I spent 5 days drinking mojitos, having great chats, and I thought this would be a great forum.
The one in Ibiza.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Mate, funny story about Ibiza. My missus messaged me on the Sunday and was like, "Have you got any great photos?" The only photos I had was one of a mojito, one of you on stage in your budgie smugglers, and a picture of me drinking a mojito, swearing. Those are the only 3 photos that I had from the entire weekend.
Shit, that happens to me sometimes. That's how you know you've got had a good time.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, you had a good time. There are some holidays that I go on that I'm like, especially if it's like just a chill one. So we like to do quite a lot of day trips when we're on holiday. Like we're not the family that's going to sit around for long. But the last holiday that we did in Dubai, we were there. So me and my son went to Saudi. We saw Ronaldo play. Then we went to the boxing. And then we went to Dubai for 4 days. And most people don't even know that I've been. I was like, I legit must have took one photo. And it was like on the last night when I was getting ready to come home. Because we just had a chill time and we didn't. There was nothing really to show people. Yeah, that's often is how you know you've had a good time.
Yeah, I just spent the entire time in Ibiza having the greatest conversations with so many people that. Yeah.
Well, I heard a little rumor that the next one might be in Dubai.
Is it really?
It might just be a rumor.
Well, keep me posted. I'm still trying to work out how I get on the list to speak. To be honest with you, so
that's easy. That's easy. Yeah, you know me now, so just
there we go. I don't like asking favors, but if you can put a nice word in,
I've got the connection, man.
Happy days.
The thing about IFS again, it's very the public speaking world is a little bit like the book world now. Like I do a lot of speaking, not as much as I used to because it's a bit of a distraction. I don't like to travel without my family. I like to take my family with me. Like I actually like hanging out with my kids, which is refreshing for me anyway.
Yeah.
And a lot of these speaking gigs now, it often doesn't even matter how good a speaker you are. It matters how big a following you've got.
Yeah.
I've done gigs with people that were headline speakers and were terrible. But because I had a big following, they know that name can fill the room. Gary Vee isn't one of them. Like Gary's a good speaker. I did an event with him in Puerto Rico in 2022, and he got 300 grand for the keynote.
Yeah, I think you spoke about it at IFS, didn't you?
Yeah, 300 grand, and he filled the room. But I suppose that's the side effect of having a great following. But there was another girl there who I don't know how much she got paid, but even my daughter said, "Dad, she's so bad." She was pretty bad. I'm sure she's a nice girl. I'm sure she was trying her hardest, but she'd clearly hadn't been on stage before, but it looked like she hadn't even rehearsed. It was that bad, but she had 9 million followers. She filled the room. Isn't it? Because I'm like, this guy hasn't even done a keynote. He's doing a fireside chat instead.
Yeah.
That means I couldn't be asked to put a keynote together, but they've got a big team so they can do it. And fireside chat, where the fuck's the fire, mate? There's not a fire. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's the world we live in, isn't it? Where follower count seems to count a lot more than credibility.
It's like that is credibility. That it makes you an authority because you have a big following.
Yeah, irrespective of whether
when you think about the organizer, you think about the organizer or the publisher. Their job is to A, sell books, B, put bums on seats.
Yeah, 100%. But it's a funny old world, the space of social media in terms of what people now consider to be an indication of value and knowledge. But it's the world we live in, and I guess sometimes you've got to just play the game. So
you have to play the game, man, and you can rig it in your favor.
Absolutely, absolutely. What comes back to the original point, you make of it what you want to, what you put into it, and how you view something. So those that are
Think about that.
fearful of
You can curate your experience of social media however you want. You block people, you hide people, you delete people, you mute people, you do all of that shit, and it's fine. After that, fine. You create your experience.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I think on that, because my content is can be a bit divisive at times, so I get my fair share of negative comments from people that've got nothing better to do.
I love those. They're my favorite.
Yeah, me as well, because I view them as transactional. If somebody's got 2 hours to keep throwing negative comments at me, I know that the algorithm doesn't care if it's positive or negative. It just sees interaction.
I think it even prefers the negative comments anyway. I think it prefers that. I think it prefers that. And also, I just get such good content from it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Any negative comments, I'm like, oh, yeah, I haven't had one today. Actually, get one. I've had 2 the last week that just from young lads saying, nice try, Diddy. So if I get a few more of them, you will know what's coming in my next post.
Yeah, absolutely. There seems to be a weird there seems to be a weird trend at the moment where people seem to think that they're going to I don't know what they're trying to achieve from it, but where they just repeat the same phrase. So and the phrases make zero sense, absolutely zero sense. So I do a lot of TikTok lives, like just Q&As, and loads of people keep tipping up to my content, and they'll like make a compliment relevant to either what I'm wearing on my hair or my beard or whatever, and then follow it straight up with, do you have diabetes? And I will get I will get like 5 or 6 of them when I'm doing a live, and I'm like, what is this? And I always like have a bit of back and forth and a bit of a laugh. And somebody yesterday was like, I'm really sorry, it's just a trend at the moment. I'm like, it's the fucking weirdest trend.
TikTok's full of 12-year-olds. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, I'm like, why is that a trend? Do you have diabetes?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
I tried it. I'm like, thank you, sweet pea. What a nice thing to say.
Yeah, I know. It's like they don't realize that they're actually helping.
I don't think they do either. Or I think a lot of people, they want attention. They can't get it any other way. So that's their only way to get it. Makes them feel a little bit better in the moment.
Yeah, probably because they spend all
that. Man, I'm all for people feeling better, even if it's at my expense.
Yeah, to a degree. I think also at the same time, they're probably the same people that are perpetually stuck in that notion of focusing on what's wrong with them.
Well, world class and masturbating also.
It's a medal we've all held once.
It is what it is. It is, mate. Yeah.
So we'll bring it back again, obviously, with the book side of things. So how's it going since it's come out?
It's flew out, man. So what's interesting was we did amazing in pre-sale. So when it went out on Amazon, mate, it flew. I don't even have the numbers in front of me, because I would have to go back to January for some of the pictures. But seeing your book in the shop is a different. Like, seeing that was a completely different feeling, because I'd done the audio thing before. My first, I didn't put on Amazon because I wanted the email addresses and the phone numbers. If I'd have put it on Amazon, I wouldn't have got that. So I was building the business at the time. The second one I did, seen it at the charts on going up on Audible and Amazon, that was great. But then when you're seeing your book alongside Mel Robbins and people like that, that's wonderful. And it's a great screenshot. But actually, after a few hours, the feeling's not. It's like most things you achieve, like it pretty quickly wears off. Like it's like you get it's like being a full balloon and then just getting let down slowly.
Yeah, 100%. It's like whatever the goal is, whether it's business related, follower related, whatever it is. It's exciting building up to it, and the moment you hit it, you go, "Oh, that's brilliant!" But 30 seconds later, you're like, "Okay, well, what now?"
I felt exactly the same after this jiu-jitsu competition. It was my first win in fucking 12 attempts or something. I've lost every match. And it felt good for about 30 seconds. And then I was like, oh shit, well, I've got another match now. And then I lost. Like, like in almost everything I've achieved. Even, man, fucking hell, in 2021, I sold out Newcastle Tyne Theatre, 1,200 people on a Friday night to come and see me do a keynote. And that's unbelievable. Within a few hours, I was like just deflated. It doesn't mean I wasn't grateful. It doesn't mean I didn't appreciate it. It's just the reality. It's the reality. And this is why I think it's really important to love the chase, if you like, to love the bit in between. So I love the bit in between. So promoting the book, getting on podcasts, doing the signings, meeting, getting invited to author parties, getting introduced to people, seeing people post photos of it. Like, that's all awesome. All awesome. Even putting the book together, I hated most of it, but it was still a ride. I learned a lot about myself. I got some help on it. I learned words that I'd never heard of before. Like, I learned a lot putting it together, and I think that's really important. So yeah, it's gone great, man. And it's certainly opened up some more doors. It's opened up a lot of opportunities, and great things keep happening.
Yeah.
As a result of that, though, I don't want to gloss over this. Obviously, as your profile grows, as you get more successful, you get your 5-star reviews and you get your 1-star reviews. You get your people bigging you up on social media and blowing smoke up your ass, and at the same time, you're getting people chatting shit. But that's what we talked about. That's love.
Yeah, 100%. And I always refer back to a phrase. I don't know who said it originally. I think the first time I heard it, I think it was actually one of James Smith, a phrase he threw out there, and I'm going to bastardize it now, probably not do it any justice, but he who enjoys the walk will travel further than he who only cares about the destination. And when you're only focused on the end result, irrespective of what it is, fat loss, business growth, whatever it is, if you're only ever worried about the end result, you miss all of the opportunities in the middle to have little celebrations, to recognize milestones, and to actually enjoy what you're doing.
Shit that you loathe. You can't live a life that you love consistently doing shit that you loathe. There's no unhappy end. There's no happy ending to an unhappy journey.
Yeah.
Like, so, and again, that doesn't mean you're only going to do things that you like. Parts of it are going to suck. And parts of it are going to be awful.
Yeah.
Parts of it are going to be awful. But if you just, instead of resisting it, I'm thinking, I wish this wasn't happening. It's like, okay, well, how can I love this? What am I learning from this? What's the upside? What's the positive? What's the hidden gift in all of this?
Yeah, 100%.
You can apply that to almost everything, man.
Yeah, and I always look at like my own journey. I worked in the corporate world selling contact centers to the NHS and public sector, getting paid a 6-figure salary, living a really comfortable life, had some great holidays, did some great things, but fucking hated every minute of every day. And I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. And when I then moved into coaching, I mean, fucking hell, I gave my notice in and left in December 2019, and obviously COVID hit in 2020. And I went from having like absolute financial security to running my own business, and then the world closed, and I was like, oh, this is fun. But I always say to people now, like, if I look back at the time, the challenges that I had when I was employed, massive sales targets I had to hit, pressure from sales directors that didn't appreciate the fact that when you're dealing with public sector, you're not in control of when that order is coming. It's not the corporate world. You can't put pressure on. There's hoops, there's red tape, but the pressure doesn't lift. They don't recognize that if something like Brexit happens and deals stall for 18 months,
they don't care.
They don't care. And that, for me, that just sucked all the enjoyment out. And then I had loads of issues where I massively overachieved on targets, earned a fuckload of commission, and had to argue to get it paid because it was more than they wanted to pay me. And you kind of sit there and you go, that's not a job that I wanted to do. And I looked at the other people I was working with, and they were like 20 years older, and I'm going, I don't want to be that guy. That's not where that's not where I want to go with this. And now I look at my biggest challenges, and it's like, sometimes it can be hard. Sometimes you lose a load of clients. Sometimes business isn't exactly where you want it.
It should be hard, man. It should be hard. Like, there's no people like to make this online coaching thing look easy. You see a lot of people, but it's fucking hard, man.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be.
But I don't feel like
it's hard, and they don't expect it to be hard. I'm like, I've been doing it 24 years, self-employed. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. It's hard whatever level you get to. It's hard when you start. It's hard in the middle. It's hard when you get to 10 grand a month. It's hard when you get 100 grand a month.
Yeah.
It's hard when you get to, that's over $1 million, but it's hard when you get to those numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel incredibly lucky in terms of where I'm at, because I have said since the day I left the corporate world, I feel semi-retired. I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life since going self-employed, because I genuinely enjoy what I do now.
Yeah.
And
what's bad is you'll get to the level where it feels like the corporate world a little bit again when you start bringing hires in and having to have fucking team meetings and fucking team get-togethers and that. It goes a little bit corporate again. I had a period about 18 months ago where I built my coaching team up to 6 coaches. It's just me again now. I was like, oh, this is managing other people. I was like, no, we've done this before. Let's scale back. What you need is someone to manage managing the other people. That's what we have to do. Yeah. We have 10 here, but I'm not going to say I'm lucky because I built it. I don't do anything that I hate doing. Nothing.
Yeah.
I go in 1 meeting a month. The guys have meetings every day. There's sales meetings, marketing meetings, customer success meetings, full team meetings. I have to go in 1 a month maximum, which is, again, the way I built it. And I often think, I was saying this the other day as well, like, I think I could make more money, but I'm not willing to do more things that I don't enjoy doing. What's the point in that? I've done that before. There's no point in that. No, none of us get into business to do things that we hate. We got it
exactly.
Thing that we love. There's just at some point in the journey, you will have to do things that you don't like until you can get somebody in that enjoys it. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Again, it comes back to that original point, doesn't it? In terms of you reap what you sow. You're in control of things. You create the life that you want. Yes, there will be things that perhaps we don't enjoy doing that we have to do, that we've got no choice but to do. But at the same time, you can pack your time with things that you actually enjoy. And I always say to people from a training perspective, why people try and endeavor to adhere to a training program that they fucking hate. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it?
And then they hate themselves for not doing it. That's even worse. I'm going to build this plan full of shit that I hate and then struggle to do it and then hate myself for not doing it.
Yeah. And then I'm going to couple that with a diet where I remove all the things that I actually like. And then the minute I eat the things that I actually like, I'm going to make myself feel like shit again. And I'm like, why are we doing it? Unless you're a competitive athlete in either physique or performance based, which dictates how you have to train and live your life. There is zero requirement for you to train, eat, or live in a particular way. Like,
I'm in the shape of my life right now. I've got a visible six pack for the first time in my life at 45 years old, and I don't do any exercise that I hate.
Yeah.
I lift weights twice a week, and I don't particularly enjoy that. But I train with a PT who's a brown belt, and he can just go, I'll go, oh, I hate this exercise. And he'll go, well, you see why we're using these fat grips, Paul? You hate it because they make you feel weak. Fat grips, right? Fat grips make you feel weak because you can't lift the weight that you know you can lift, right?
Yeah.
For example, for us, it's trap bar deadlifts with a shrug. And I'm like, why do I have to use these fat grips? He said, Paul, you see when you grab someone at the back of someone's head? He said, there's a reason they can't get your hand off. It's because you do this.
Yeah.
There's a reason that when you get a hold of somebody's arm, Paul, that they can't strip your hands off them. And he's like, because you do this. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Now he's able to link it to something that I love.
And therefore, a reason for why you need to do it. You might not enjoy it massively, but there's an inherent reason that is directly linked to your success and what you enjoy doing as to why you do it. The problem is the majority of people that when they want to get in a bit better shape, they want to lose a bit of fat, whatever it is, they pick 20 exercises they fucking hate.
Right?
Yeah, and they go, I'm just going to do this. Oh, how often are you going to do it? I'm going to try and do it every day. Are you? How often do you do it now? I've never done it before. Brilliant. That sounds really, really sensible.
Mad part is, it's usually men. That's the maddest part. It's usually men. It is usually men. Yeah, and I do work with women. People think I only work with men, but I have like 80 female clients as well. They're just very, I'm not going to say very masculine, but they're very special, these ladies. Like, I only market to men. Everything I talk about is about men, yet I have 80 female coaching clients. They all bully me into coaching them. Why can't we work with him? I was like, well, there's no actual reason why you can't. And mate, we get ladies joining every week, and I don't even advertise it at all.
Mate, I mean,
I don't coach them, and they're like, yeah, you do, because I heard that you do. Oh, fucking hell.
Mate, that's when you know that you're winning, when people that are not even being marketed to, who know that they're not being marketed to, are actually like begging.
It is mad, and what I love about it though, it's like I can't offend these people. Like, I try to be honest to offend them, and I can't. I legit can't offend them. Yeah. I can say
some of the best people.
I hope I'm not going to set these ladies by something stupid coming out my mouth from some of the stand-up stuff that I've done and that, and they don't give a fuck. That's why I love coaching them, because they're not bothered. They never get offended. They join in with the banter. It's class, man. It ain't mad that we get paid for like helping great people change their life, man.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's wild.
But it's why from day one I never changed how I do my content. All of my family were like, "Why do you swear so much?" I'm like, "Because I say cunt all the time in everyday life. It's what I do." Like, my book is called "How to Stop Being a Fat Cunt." People know what they're getting.
Yeah,
like,
exactly that. Yeah.
And the amount of people that when they started working with me, I only started following you because you said cunt. I'm like, well, yeah. People should. It's a great word.
yeah. And again, I was saying there, like about doing things, making more money. If I part of that is if I change my tone a little bit, there will be more opportunities come my way. TV opportunities. The magazine cancelled an interview the other week. Got a message off the publisher. I posted a video that ironically has had 7 times more views than any other video that I've done this year. A lady with big boobs. And she's walking along with her boobs bouncing. Great set of tits, by the way. And then I go in and I say, why are you looking at tits? Buy this. Right? Yeah. Video blew up. I got a message off the publisher saying, Paul, I'll not name the magazine, but they withdrew the request for an interview. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, can you take the video down? I was like, no, I'm not willing to take it down. Imagine if you and me and you don't like tits. It's not going to do well, is it? Because I have to be someone that I'm not. I don't go out my way to offend people. It's the way that I talk. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not inauthentic. I don't like using the word authentic, but I'm not inauthentic. I'm not going to put on a mask. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to dampen down what I'm about just to get another opportunity. And it probably happens with speaking gigs all the time. Like I get schools will ask me, can you come and do the talks? I'm like, yes, but you must understand that I'm not going to say anything different.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not then, Paul. And then I got offered, I do gigs in jails fairly often now. And I'm like, listen, just so you know, I'm going to talk about the things that I talk about. They don't give a fuck, to be fair. Like, they don't. That's great. But there's a lot of things that I don't get. Like, a friend of mine I would do the podcast with, he has a massive event every 2 or 3 times a year. He's had Gary Vee over, he's had Alan Sugar, he's had Stephen Bartlett, he's had Russell Brunson over he's got Vishan who owns Mind Valley. Big deals, these people.
Yeah.
And I very rarely get these gigs anymore. And he's my mate. He's like, Paul, you upset too many people when you're on the stage. But I understand it. I'm like, there's people walk out with that when I'm on. And I'm not going out my way to offend people. I'm just saying what I say. And I'm like, I understand it. And he was like, would you tone it down? I'm like, no.
But again, I think if you're constantly changing who you are to appease people, that you're just going to continue to upset other people.
You forget who you are. You forget what you're about.
And you'll upset the people that actually liked you for you will then start to be like, you've changed, you've sold out, we don't want to like you anymore.
Who's this guy? Yeah, mate, it's actually got worse since I started doing the stand-up, because that started to drop into me professional speaking now. So I've actually taken a break from stand-up for 6 months. My friend who's a comedian is actually opening for Russell in October. And he said,
amazing.
This. I said, I saw it. He said, and he offers me gigs all the time. He said, mate, I've got 3 gigs for you. He said, they're all great gigs. One of them was someone on Phoenix Nights. And I was like, oh, mate, I can't. He's like, what for? So I need to take a break for 6 months. The travel, the distraction. I'm like, I need to nail this book deal. Nail this book. I just got too much going on. But it's really because that stand-up's starting to leak into me professional stuff too much. And it's not like I'm not telling jokes, but I'm going from saying something to then talking about having a wank in the bath. The wank in the bath isn't relevant. That's the thing. So I'll just slip into it, and I'll start telling like jokes about 69s and that. You know what I mean? And it doesn't even. It doesn't. So I'll tell jokes and I'll still be rude and I'll still be me, but I'm like, how was that joke even sneaked in? It's got nothing to do with this. But it's because my mind's somewhere. And when you're ADHD, you get thrown around quite a bit. You do get thrown around a bit,
Yeah, don't you just? It's a minefield from that.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, me neither. I'm learning to very much embrace the fact that my brain is 2 steps ahead of me, and those steps are sideways usually.
Yeah, that's step sideways into a puddle of shit.
Basically. Yeah.
Then you have to dig yourself out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's fucking brilliant. But I mean, stand-up's an interesting one. Again, I'm obviously conscious of time, what have you, but I think it's a good place just to kind of round off, because I think for as long as I can remember, my parents have always been like, oh, you should be on the stage. I've always thought to myself, oh, stand-up would be great. And it's one of those things that the minute you start to think about it, you realize that it's not just a case of just being naturally funny. There's very few comedians that can probably just ad-lib and hold an audience. So
Russell's one of them. Russell's 100% one of them. Yeah. Mate, I saw Russell once. He was 40 minutes into a gig and he hadn't started. He was like, shit, I haven't started. He said 40 minutes in. Yeah. All he did was talk about the town where he was in. It was Stockton. Actually, he was there again at the weekend, Stockton. And he said, he asked the woman where she was from, and she was from like the next town away. And 40 minutes later, he still hadn't started.
But that level of like talent and being that good at holding an audience is incredibly rare. How have you found that transition in terms of obviously going from a public speaker to moving into obviously I know you said you've had to kind of take a step the other way because it was negative, well, not negatively, but it was feeding
also
into
one of them pays way more. One of them pays way more as well.
Yeah,
one of them pays a lot fucking more, man. So I suppose I've probably got more of a reputation in one of them than the other. So the stand-up, what's interesting, I thought I was quite funny, right? And I've done to be fair, I've got some great gigs, man. My 3rd gig was with the guy that won Britain's Got Talent.
Amazing.
3rd ever gig. That's wild. But I've got no doubt that's because I have an okay size following. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got that advantage. You know what I was saying? That people get millions of followers, get speaking gigs. I've got a few followers for someone that's in comedy just starting out. So I've got no doubt that's why I get these offers, right? So the bit that I found easy was the before part. So when I did the first gig, it was like at the end of a course, and everyone was like, 2 guys had to get drunk to go on stage. Everyone was really nervous, and I wasn't. But that's just because I'd done the before going on stage part hundreds of times, if not over 1,000 times. Like a lot of speaking. So I'd done that bit before. So I'd done the opening bit. I knew how to practice. I knew how to put a kind of a thing together. But what I found was a couple of things was, the main thing was that when you do a keynote, I've done so many that I know even if I do a shit job, I'm going to get a round of applause at the end.
Yeah.
People want to see you win. But comedy, there are people that want to see you fall flat on your ass.
Yeah.
My 2 gigs were kind of charity fun ones. They were easy. Right? And then the third one that I did was a real comedy one with real comedians. People that did it for a living. Right?
Yeah.
It was imagine the roughest social club you've ever been in.
Yeah.
Take out 70-year-old men and replace them with 25, 30-year-old lads that have been on the packet.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Fucking wild. My dad even came. My dad had never seen me do it. He was like, "Son, are you sure about this?" I'd seen me speak a lot, but he'd never seen me do stand-up, right?
Yeah.
So, you sure about this? So it was rough as fuck. It was in Wallsend in Newcastle. The place was actually called Battle Hill. Where it was.
Brilliant.
The first comedian ran off the stage. Literally got destroyed by the crowd. And I was like, oh, fuck. I changed my entire set while I was in the crowd. I was like, I can't do my set that I've done in the charity events. It's too lame.
Yeah.
Literally came up with a new set, right, on my phone, in the notes on my phone, while I was waiting to go on. I was like, I'm going to go in X-rated here. It's where I came up with the wanking jokes, the wanking in the bath jokes, the fucking 69 jokes, all that really naughty shit. My first few were it was funny, but they were kind of tame. Even Russell Kane said to me, I said to him, what do you think? He said, lame as fuck. You were fucking weak. I said, what do you mean? He said, you were corporate as fuck. I was like, well, of course I am. I'm a public speaker. And he was like, you played it safe. So on this other gig, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to have to do it. And then what I quickly found out was a couple of things. Hecklers are great. Hecklers is where you really get to find out whether you're funny.
Yeah.
That's where you can really tell. How you deal with a heckler, what comes out your mouth, that's where you're like, am I funny or not?
Yeah.
So I am in awe now of guys that do crowd work, in awe of them. I'm like, that's when you really know if you're funny, because you have to do it on the spot. What I also found, the biggest 2 changes were, like I said about the round of applause, you know you're going to get a round of applause at the end. So often the feedback isn't instant. In comedy, the feedback is instant. Yeah. When you're on the stage doing the corporate stuff, public speaking, silence is great because it means people are listening and taking notes. Silence in stand-up is death.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Oh, yeah, those are the biggest difference. The buzz is so different, though. The buzz, it sounds like it should be the same. But when you've got a whole room of people like crying and sweating, laughing at your jokes, that buzz is fucking up there with some of the highest buzzes that I've felt. Which is why it's really difficult for me to say no. But this year, my big thing is saying no to distractions. Even though I love it, it's a distraction from what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build a cult.
I think as well, from someone who's got ADHD, we absolutely love getting that rush of dopamine. We love that little bit of ego massaging, and a round of applause at the end of a talk, it will give you a little bit of a buzz, but people are going to do that. They're going to be polite. I'm sure I've delivered many presentations and sales meetings before where people have gone, "Thanks, that was really helpful. Thanks for that." And they were probably thinking, what a load of shit. But it's like you said, it's the corporate world. Corporate world is all about, metaphorically sucking people's dick until they give you some money. But stand up is the opposite. Stand up is like you're on stage and you have to basically suck everyone's dick in the room to get them on side.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard, but I learned so much about myself. It's no doubt improved me public speaking. And I still get nervous doing public speaking, but I'm like, this is nothing. Like, I can do that. If I can do that, I can do anything. It's like me when I hit so I'm like 3.5 years booze free or something now. When I hit the first year, one of my first thoughts was, fucking hell, if I can say no to this thing that's pushed on me all the time, like what else can I do? It gave me so much self-belief, and that's what the stand-up feels like. Once I got through that third gig, the one in Battle Hill, that changed my trajectory on the stand-up thing. Like, mate, I've done them with. I've done him with Britain's Got Talent. I've done another guy off Phoenix Night, Archie, and I turn them down all the time. But it's because the guy he's an MC at local clubs. Like he's yesterday, my friend James, he's called James Kilvin. I give him a shout out. James offered me things all the time, and that's because he's seen how I handle the crowd at the other thing. And that wasn't practice. That was just sink or swim time now.
Yeah.
I think I called a lass a slag with it. I was like, "Will you shut up, you fucking slag?" And if I put my dick in your mouth, would you be quiet then? Like, it was bad. And I was like, oh, even when it came out of my mouth, I was like, wow, that was harsh. But people loved it.
Yeah.
The Geordies fucking loved it. And then James and then I just you get these opportunities now. Like James yesterday he did a corporate gig for a room full of porn stars.
Amazing.
Comedy gig. How mad's that? I didn't believe him. I was like, no, you didn't. And then he sent me a picture with him and the guy off Fake Taxi.
I mean,
I was like, no way, man.
There's a lot of people that I would consider are winning at life, but I mean that's got to be right up there as a trump card, isn't it?
I'm saying he posted a couple of photos on Instagram this morning. I'm like, mate, post more photos to see if I recognize any of them. Yeah, he's like, I'm like, because you wanted these people don't seem real, but some of the stories he's telling me, I'm like, mate, he was telling me them in the car because I was driving back from Manchester from my comp. He was driving back to Milton Keynes. So when you're in that driving squad, it's lonely. Driving's lonely as fuck, man.
Yeah.
He's obviously driving all over the place. We spent a good 20 minutes, and what he was telling me, I was like, mate, he'll get a whole set, a new set, out of what he told me that happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Blokes that aren't gay but do porn where they get sucked off by another bloke. I'm like, how's that not gay?
Because they say no homo.
Yeah, no homo, no diddy. I was like, he's getting sucked off. He's like, yeah, he also got 170 grand for the shoot. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, if the guy has a shave, maybe it's the guy who's like clean shaven or something. It's not gay. Mate, I don't know how offended to be. Apologies.
Mate,
you brought up the stand-up and the tone drastically fell off the edge of a cliff.
Mate, it's what we're here for. If I'm not lowering the tone in a conversation, something's gone wrong, I think.
Exactly.
It's the beauty of stand-up, though, it is that obviously comedy is subjective, so there are going to be jokes that land and jokes that don't, but you've also got that when you've had gigs that have gone exceptionally well, if you are having a gig that's perhaps not going brilliantly, you can take a little bit of arrogance out of it and be like, hey, look, this is on you. This is on you guys. I know I'm funny. Been told by other people all the fucking time.
Because one of the things I did mention, you just reminded me of it there, was people don't laugh at things that I think are funny. Right?
Yeah.
There's something I say, I'm like, I thought that was hilarious. What's the matter with you? But then they also laugh at things that aren't jokes.
Yeah.
I'll pull a face and I'm like, what are you laughing at? That's not the joke. But then I know it's a good joke when they're laughing before I get to the end of it. Yeah. That's when I'm like, yeah, you need to let me finish it, but then I don't have to finish it because they're already laughing. Like, that's what I test as a good joke or a good story, because they know what's going to come and their brain has figured it out and they start laughing before I'm done with it. Like that's the ultimate sweet spot for me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when I watch a lot of comedy on shorts or on Instagram, stand up all the time. Yeah. And I think those interactions where, like you said, people start laughing at the bits that aren't even actually the funny bits. Like that's what makes. Yeah, that's what really fucking makes it. There's a great video that's going on. I can't remember the guy's name. It's completely just vanished out of my head. And he tells a joke and he notices somebody not laughing. He's like, "Oh, is it your first time at the comedy?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." And he's like, "Oh, well, this is what we do." And she's, I think she asked like, "What's a joke?" or something. And he's like, basically like properly belittles her about it being the first time at the comedy. He's like, he goes, "What you do? I say a bit, and then everybody sort of laughs, and then I'll say another bit, and you laugh again, and then it cuts on, and it's like right towards the end of his show." Yeah. And he starts talking, she starts laughing, and it's just this woman on her own. He's like, no, that's not it. And he's like, I tell you what, just wait for everyone else, and when they do it, you just join in.
Yeah, unbelievable. But that's amazing,
like, man. You can't write that kind of comedy, but like that must be such a.
My friend James I was talking about before, he posted a clip where there was a guy with Tourette's in the crowd, and everyone thought he'd been planted. The guy just kept going, "You fucking cunt!" I was like, the clip is fucking class, man. And James actually can't stop laughing. Because he thought he was digging him out to start with, and then he just laughed every time he said something. And I think he said just went, but yeah, unbelievable clips, man. And that, again, if you want to find out what you're about when things get hard, like comedy is one of the ways to do it, man.
Yeah. Maybe I might give it a go. Maybe.
Yeah, man. Careful not to fall in love with it, because next thing you know, you'll be fucking spending loads of money traveling the country and getting paid nothing, and then wondering where your life's going. Yeah. I think what I'll end up doing is, I reckon I'll retire in a few years. And then I think I might have a proper run at it. Yeah, James was like, "Oh, we should start a podcast." And I'm like, "I'd love to start a podcast, but I've got a football podcast that no one knows about already." Because the thing is, I don't want to start another Instagram page, Paul. It's already a lot. And then I've got to think about now. I've started to figure out a little bit more about the algorithm. The less stories I post, the more views I get, right?
Yeah.
The 3 stories a day is a sweet spot for me. So now I've really got to think about what I post. So I'm not going to take one of those stories up with a post about a podcast that's about football. But also, you got to think about from a business point of view. I don't want my audience being confused with what it is I actually do. I already have a very varied life. People are always like, "You're always up to something, Paul," right? I'm always up to something. So if I'm now starting posting about a football podcast and doing stand-up, where does the guy that coaches marry business owners to make more money fit in? He doesn't. He gets filtered out by all the other mad shit. So that's one of the reasons why the comedy thing I haven't really gone for it, because my wife's also scared in case I get cancelled, by the way. She's like this. I'm like, I've been trying for years to get cancelled. I don't know how to. I've been trying for such a long time. She's like, yeah, but the comedy will get you cancelled. Yeah,
there's every possibility.
There is,
but I think it was David Walliams and Mark Lucas have put a new podcast out, and they referenced how many times they've each individually been cancelled lately. And
really?
I think there's an element of holding that as a sign of doing things right. If you're pissing enough people off, that you're doing something right. I
actually think it might start reversing itself again now.
I think so. I think there's enough people like the likes of Ricky Gervais and what have you, who are offensive, but like again, I saw another clip of him.
They're not a bad person.
Yeah, they're not actually trying to offend people. They're just saying things that they know it will cause offense, but it's funny. And the phrase I always use of Ricky Gervais is that I think is fucking brilliant is, I find it funny, you find it offensive, that's why I'm happier than you.
Beautiful, man. I actually don't know that many. I mean, fucking hell, they tried to cancel Ant Middleton and Still Flying, just lost his own water brand. One guy that did get cancelled, though, as I'm friends with Dapper Laughs, Dapper Laughs?
Yeah.
So Dan O'Reilly did get cancelled. Like, he got everything pulled from underneath him, and he's just starting to come back now. But again, I think that even him now, because of social media, I think you are uncancelable. I think people are uncancelable.
Yeah, there's always going to be a platform. I mean, even you look at
he had his TV show taken off him at the time, right?
Yeah,
he had his TV show taken off him. He had a tour cancelled by his management. But even then, like now, most people are uncancelable because you got your social media is bigger than TV, probably.
Yeah, there's still going to be people that are going to want to go and see. I mean, you look at what happened with Russell Brand, everything that kicked off, and he got banned off of all major platforms, and he just went over to a different platform, and millions of people followed him. It's
Andrew Tate even bigger.
Yeah. So
these people just get to a level where they're fucking uncancelable.
I mean, there used to be a time where no news is bad. No news is bad news, isn't it? It doesn't matter if people are saying bad things about you, as long as people are talking about you, that's the most important thing. Stay relevant.
It's wild. Yeah.
I think that's probably a good place to begin to.
What a great conversation and varied conversation we've had today.
I know, it's been fucking awesome. I'm very grateful.
People say, do you know when people say, "Oh, it's less of an interview, more a conversation"? A lot of the time, it still ends up with an interview, right? And I do, mate. In the last 2 weeks, I've probably done. I think I did 9 last week, so I've done a lot. I've done a lot. The week before, I probably did. I was on holiday. I've done a lot, and a lot of them still represent interviews, mate. So well fucking played. That was fucking class. I really had a great time.
Thank you. Same here. It's been fucking awesome, and I'm sure we'll try and get you on again, and we'll delve into even more things. But yeah,
get me on when I get cancelled. Keep me relevant. Keep me relevant, bro.
100%. What I always do at the end, before we disappear, just let everybody know where they can find you if they don't already know who you are, which I'm sure they do. But if they
it means you're not easily offended, which is great news. Honestly, it would mean the world to me if you go on Amazon, Audible, Spotify, WH Smith, Waterstones. Amazon are always doing deals on the book, so it would mean the world to me if you could go and grab me book. And then my publishers, I don't get paid anymore, by the way, maybe 50p, but no shit, I'll probably get 50p. But it's not about that. It's about, I've wrote a book that I think could have a powerful impact on your life. And my publisher's decision to publish me, little old me, from this poor town with 2 GCSEs, that decision will be a little bit more justified. So I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely go and get it. Check it out. And you're quite right. Nobody puts a book out for making shitloads of money from it. It's
I was just about to say I'm a bit of a book slut. I'm a book slut now.
Love it. But mate, honestly, it's been amazing. Thank you so much. I'm sure we'll catch up soon. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Make sure you give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I will see everybody on the next episode.